questions on YouTube, basically. Okay. So let's go over the main concepts. We are in day 1 and 2 of JavaScript. Day 2 doesn't have any new concepts. Day 2 only has more projects. Okay, so here as you can see here, day 1 is 3 readings, looping. We haven't seen. I'm sorry. This was a question, or it was just background noise? I think it was background noise. Cool. Okay, so we have 3 readings. We haven't done any loops because the last class, even though we saw JavaScript, we didn't see loop, and we haven't seen functions either. So we only did the first reading. For day 4, my bad. We have this reading about the DOM, but it's only because we are using the DOM like in a 1%. So that's why I decided to put the reading there, just in case. I hope you guys have done the practice, because the practice will give you a lot of training for the exercises. And if not, well, you still have time to do the practice and ask questions on the Slack channel. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so popping the balloons. Basically, we are gonna start with a strategy like before. The strategy, I think the project already comes with it could come with a template already. Let me see. Yeah, it comes with a template, but I'm gonna build the template from scratch with you guys so that we can understand how it was built. I think it doesn't have many. Yeah. Okay. For the effects and stuff, I'm gonna copy and paste that, because the effects are always a little bit tricky in CSS, so they take a while. Like the effects, with effects I mean, you know that the balloons are floating, they appear like floating. So that float effect is just basically moving the balloons slowly on the Y coordinates and then moving it down. That's all done with CSS, and to be very honest, I didn't even do it. I googled how to make something float in CSS, like appear that it's floating, and it gave me this CSS here, and I applied it to the HTML, and I liked it. And if I don't like it, I could tweak a little bit here, because it's easy to understand this part here. It's basically subtracting 20 pixels from the Y. 20 pixels less, then 20 pixels more. 20 pixels less, here's 0, then it goes down to minus 20, and then it goes up to 0 again, and it loops again. So that's the floating animation. And the shaking, it's when you hover on it. So I said to start a project from the beginning, so let's do that. I'm gonna go to the beginning, start new project, a new empty project. Let me know when you're done with the coding environment and you have it done, so that we can continue. If you don't know how to open a new empty project, just ask. There's no stupid question here. No stupid questions. And when you ask, you give courage to other people to ask, and you also make me go over previous concepts that I know I have to go over, but sometimes I forget. Like, it's hard for a teacher go over all the concepts all the time, so sometimes a reminder is just the question. Okay. Let me know in the chat when you're ready to start coding. So Barath is ready. Timothy is ready. Pascual is ready. We're waiting for Cristiano and Gonzalo and Diego. Okay, Cristiano, Diego. Okay, we're already here. Also, to start, you always start with the same. It's a website, so it needs to start with an HTML. So index.html. It has to be called index. You cannot call it anything else. So don't say hello.html. Don't say anything, just index.html. And then for the basic structure, you never type at all. No one types that anymore. So just start typing an exclamation mark, and it will autocomplete something called emmet. Emmet abbreviation. So just type that, enter, pick the emmet abbreviation, and it will fill the entire body content with the HTML that you need to start. Like just an empty white website will require all of this. And once you have the emmet, let's also do the style.css. So style.css. Let me put it on the right side of the screen, and on the left side, the index. And then on the README file that you have open from the beginning, you have the instructions to run the website and see your code. So the instructions are here. After you create the index, you put the basic structure with emmet, and then you copy and paste these commands, not the $sign. Don't copy the $sign, and you put them in the console. Enter. And the second one, enter. Just put one after the other, and a small dialog will pop at the bottom right that says Open Preview or Open Browser. Click Open Browser, please. Do not click Open Preview. Let me know when you're seeing the dialog and you have already clicked Open Browser. It's going to show up a white website. It's not going to be full of anything. It's going to be empty. If it's empty, it's cool. Okay, cool. Now we're going to put that separate window on the right side because we want to see it all the time. We don't want to be switching tabs or windows. If you have a really small monitor, well, I guess you will have to. But if you had one a little bit wide, you can use the right side for your preview. And then on the left side, the code. Okay, now that we're done with that, we gotta go to the strategy. So for the strategy, let me open the balloons here. Oh, I see that we have now, oh no, we don't have someone. Who's Prueba Twitch? There's someone called Prueba Twitch that joined twice, by the way.
Oh, that's mine. Alejandro, it's Jonathan.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, okay. So let's do a strategy here. We have to, let me take a screenshot of the balloons, all in, because I don't want the animation. It's a little bit complicated to, but for the strategy, here is specify the strategy. Basically, the strategy will be, let's build the HTML first, pretty quick, because that's the part that I don't want to focus on. I want to do it with you guys, but I don't want to focus on that a lot. So for the strategy for the HTML, let's just capture the visible part of the page and annotate on top of that. Okay, so we're gonna have, we can do something like this. We can do agreed using the flexbox. Let me do it in red. Oh, actually, green was good. Okay, so this is a little square. It's gonna be a div. Then we're gonna have another div here on the same size, another div here on the same size, and another div here on the same size. And then we're gonna replicate that for every square, you know? Oh my god, this can be annoying. So basically every square is gonna be a div. We're gonna put them to put,
20 divs?
yeah. So 20 divs, but don't do, well, yeah, let's do the 20 divs. But you'll see that later we can generate them with JavaScript. Because what's the objective for a web developer? Your goal is to understand HTML entirely so that you can generate it automatically and dynamically when you're sleeping, basically. You go to sleep and the website continues working and it continues generating different HTML, CSS based on the user. So that's our objective. So to accomplish that, we're going to use JavaScript. But for now, we're going to do the HTML first. So let's do one div, and we're going to call it balloon, class balloon. And then let's do the div that contains all of them. And let's call it, I don't know, container, whatever, container. And we're going to put the balloon inside. And we're going to have several balloons. So I just put some there. Don't worry about it right now. Just have some inside. They don't have to be 20 exactly because you will generate them dynamically. I just want to show how the HTML is going to, our strategy in HTML to then start generating that with JavaScript. And then on the CSS, we're going to put container. And let's make it yellow because I want to see it right now. I just want to see it. Yellow. And to the balloons, let's put balloon with 40 pixels and a height of 40 pixels. And a border just to be able to see it of let's say 1 pixel solid red. Let's make it dashed instead of solid. I think dashed will look better. And let's see how it looks right now. Well, it doesn't look anything. Right now it's still empty. And that means that my CSS is not properly linked. So let's do the link tag again. Link. To do the link tag, remember, don't type the link tag. Like, no one types the link tag at all. So just search in Google, link tag. And copy the link tag that comes by default. Bharati, I'm gonna mute you because you have some noise, so I'm gonna mute you. Yeah, that's it. I just muted you. Okay, so I'm gonna paste my link tag here, and then we're gonna say style.css. That's it. Make sure your link tag works. Make sure you can see the background in yellow. My link tag doesn't work right now. Even though I saved it, it's not working. Look, I don't see anything. So I have a problem. Let me put a body background just to make sure that I can see it. Blue. I don't see the body background blue. Oh, I finally see it. So it's not the link tag what's broken on my exercise. I think we have a question. You're missing a no. Oh, my bad. Yeah, you're right. Thank you very much, Gonzalo. There it is, my balloons. Some question now. Why do we have the balloons one on top of each other? Like, why are they like that? No one has an answer. Well, it's because
we're in the we're putting container, the yellow for the whole container, and then balloon we're designating to the particular colors
yeah, but
of red. So
okay, that's right. But the balloons could be from left to right, or they could be from top to bottom. We want it from left to right, and they don't behave like that by default. They behave in a different way. What do you think is that? What's the property in CSS that makes them behave like that?
the positioning.
The position can be relative or absolute. Yeah, Diego said there that they are block elements. That's the right answer.
Okay.
It's because they are block elements. So if we don't want them to be block, and it's a display property basically, not the position. You were almost there. I always confused when I was starting. I also confused display with position. In this case, is that because they are display block. Look, if I inspect and I tell all the balloons, let's do that. I'm going to tell all the balloons to be display inline block. Now they are go from left to right. If I put inline, they don't even show up. They show up, but very little. And that's because when an element is displaying inline, it behaves like text. And text doesn't have any borders. Text is borderless. It's not a box. So we want to keep the box, the display block. Yeah, Gonzalo's right. We could also use display flex. Actually, display flex is being used more than display in inline block. So if you want to make sure why it's not happening, I see some separation between them, and I'm guessing that separation is the problem. And I think the separation is because you have to put them together like this, like a white space. It's gonna make them be separated. Yeah, now they are together, these two, you see? So that's why display flex became the standard. Because this one has little bugs. Like, for example, the spaces between divs, they occupy some width. So that's why we're going to switch. We're not going to use display block. We're going to put to the parent display flex. Display the parent of all. And we're going to remove the display inline block. And let's see how it works. So there we are. Now we have all the containers in the same line. That's default on the display flex. They become, it's like a display inline, but it doesn't respect the width and the height anymore. The width and the height is not gonna do anything anymore. So we can remove it. Okay, now what's next? Let me see. Display flex. When I'm working with display flex, I always open the CSS tricks complete guide because it's very useful. It's very graphic and you can understand everything in a second. So let's do that. Let me wait for the images to load so you guys can follow it the same way as me. So we are already from left to right. The left side in purple, it's everything you have to apply to the parent. And the right side is everything you have to apply to the children's. So we have to make sure that we only have 4 items per row. And we can do that using, I have no idea, let me see. I forgot. If you guys know, just let me know because it could take me a minute to figure it out. It's something like flex column. Ah, here it is. Flex. No, it's not flex row. Flex direction is not flex direction either. Order. can see it in the boilerplate. Let me see. Okay, let's put flex grow 1 to all the childs. Flex grow 1. Now they don't do anything. Let me put back the hate. At least the hate. And
that said flex grow, not grow. I don't know if that matters.
I just put grow?
Yeah, it was grow.
Okay. It was flex grow, and then flex grow tells how to grow to every element. We want to put flex grow 1 because we want them all to be the same size inside the. I think it's this one. We want them to jump when they don't fit. To jump line. I think it's with flex direction row. Let me see. Container flex direction row. Maybe we can just put a width. No. Let me see the boilerplate again. We did specify a width to the entire balloon map. Margin auto, flex 1, a width. Let's specify the width again just to see if that works. It didn't work. What could we be missing? Flex wrap. Yeah. Yeah, it was flex wrap. The boilerplate must have a flex wrap. Let me see. Yeah, flex wrap wrap. That's the one. It will make the element jump line when it doesn't fit. And it has to be applied to the parent because it's on the purple side, on the left side. Okay, so to the container, not to the balloon. My bad. Flex wrap. There it is. So we have 3. I think it depends on the width. If I apply a little bit a bigger width, it should, or the width doesn't matter. Yeah, it does matter. Yeah. So if we want 8, 20, and 4 lines, maybe we gotta make it 40. Let's make it 40, and maybe it will fit. Because the width is 40 times 4, but it still doesn't work. Let's make it a little bit smaller just to see. 30. Yeah, with 30 it matches, but with 40 it doesn't match. Let's make it bigger, the entire container. Let's say 300 pixels. Let's say 500 pixels. And then let's say to each of the elements, let's say 100. 120. So there we go. We have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it jumps a 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it goes like that. And then the last one, it's an entire row because it doesn't have anyone to share the row with. So we would have to put 3 more. 1, 2, 3, just to make it share the space with the others. There it is. So by applying a display flex with direction row so that it can go from left to right, and then with a flex wrap so that it can jump line after it doesn't fit, we managed to do our layout. Now the height has to be a little bit bigger. Let's make it 60 because we want a square. We don't want a very wide a rectangle. We want a square. So let's make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, maybe something like this could be. And then let's center the parent with margin auto. Okay, there we are. So this is supposed to be a JavaScript class. So I'm gonna switch to the JavaScript now. We have enough. Oh, well, we're missing the balloon, the actual balloon. So I'm gonna copy it from here. I made a, let me do exactly this. I think with the border radius was enough. Let me see. Border radius of 50. Okay. Let's make it a little bit more wide. 100 maybe. Less wide. Okay, there it is. And then the before and the after was used as an effect for the, like to do, you know, the balloons have a little where the air comes in and out, like a little neck. I don't know. So for that, we use before and after. I can show you the CSS that we have here so that you can copy it as well, because we are not focusing on the, yeah, that's the link for the GitHub. By the way, you have the link for the GitHub. You have it on the instructions here. It says repository, click to open. Okay, everyone has the link for the GitHub here. Okay, let's refresh to see how it looks. The before and after didn't work at all. Because I have to put it relative. The problem is that we have to put the balloon relative. We're talking about position. Remember that we were talking about position. Relative. It has to be relative so that we can move the before and after however we want. And we still have an issue. Let's see where the before and after are. If we open this, we can hover on the after. There it is. There's the after. You can see it. Small little thing there. We gotta make it more to the. Let's first make sure that we can see it. Let me remove the yellow background to the container because it's not helping us anymore. And the blue background as well. Okay. Now the before and after, there it is. It doesn't have any content, and maybe that's the problem. Let me put a little letter on the content just to be able to see it. There it is. Maybe we can put like a pipe. Yeah. Okay, let's make it more to the left. Let me move it with the inspector. That's easier to see. To put it in the middle. Yeah, so there it is. It's 60. Left, 60. And then I guess the width has to be a little bit bigger because it's not working with just 3 pixels. Let's make it 5 pixels. And the border, it needs to have some border. Border, 1 pixel, solid, and let's say red. Okay. Now we're talking. Let's make it smaller. There. Now we can put back the content like that. Okay, so that's our little neck for now, the balloon neck. Everyone following so far? Am I going too fast? This is the HTML and CSS. That's why I'm going fast, because I don't want to focus on this. It's already 44 minutes in the class and we haven't started JavaScript. So we need to start the JavaScript, but we need to understand the HTML and CSS so that when we do the JavaScript, we don't get lost. Everyone's following. Okay. Okay, let's start with the JavaScript. We want to make this dynamic first. So the only thing that we want to make dynamic, you don't want to do dynamic CSS because that's a real problem. Like, it's horrible. So when you finish your CSS, you can then generate dynamically your HTML and that's it. So we want to generate dynamically 20 balloons. So to do that, we're going to create a app.js file for our JavaScript. So now I'm going to have the HTML on the left, the JS in the middle. I have a little mess here. Okay, there. So that's my CSS. Then my JS is in the middle. It's bigger because we're gonna be doing a lot of this. So first thing we gotta do, link it, right? We gotta tell the HTML that we are using this JS. So for that we use the link tag. No, my bad, the script tag. Look on Google, script tag, and then copy the first result from W. By the way, this is not the right one. No, that's sad. Let me see with this one. Nope, doesn't work either. Let's say in Google, let's say script tag source. There it is. This is the one. Script tag source, because we don't want to have the JS on the same file. We could, but it's a good practice to have it in a separate file. So that's why I look for the source property, because I know that's, if we use the source property, we can have an external file. So put it right before the body closing tag, okay? The script tag goes right before the body closing tag. How can you test if it's working? The way that I do it all the time, I put an alert. Hello, world. Or a console log will work as well, as Barathi said. Exactly. Console log, hello world, on the console. So what's the difference between the both? The alert is going to show in the middle of the screen, and the console log is going to show, so it's not working, you see? It's not finding my, yeah, because I didn't change the name of the script on the script tag. Look, it has to say app.js. Now it's working. It's telling me hello world as an alert. And if I go to the console, it says hello world on the console. You see? So I wanna make sure that everyone is able to do this link tag, this script tag. So I'm gonna wait until everyone says that it's done. So we're waiting for Diego. No, we're not waiting for Diego. Gonzalo's done. I know, yeah, we are waiting for Diego. If you have an error, you can share the screen and we can figure it out together, because I don't have a lot of errors anymore because I'm more senior, so it's a problem because you're gonna find errors. I wanna make sure that we can fix the errors together so that everyone can learn how to fix the errors. Like, we are not here to do the exercise and that's it. This is not a video. We're here to fix errors, to learn how to fix errors so that we can get paid to fix errors tomorrow or do our own startup and be millionaires, whatever. So Diego, let me know if you're done or if you're having issues. In the meantime, the console is your best friend. Is where you're gonna be. No one opens a page and sees the console. Like, that doesn't happen. So whatever you put on the console is not gonna be seen by anyone. Like, for example, if I go to Facebook and I open the console, no one does that. No one opens the console. So you're gonna find that Facebook has a message for the developers here. Look, it says stop huge. Stop. It doesn't want us to open the console. This is a browser feature intended for developers. If someone told you to copy paste something here to enable a feature or hack someone's account, it's a scam and will give them access to your Facebook account. Yeah, well, that's what Facebook is putting to the developers here. But in any other website, they don't put messages for you. Maybe some websites recruit people from here. Like, I've seen that Spotify or people like that. Let's go to Spotify for a second. And maybe they will be recruiting people through the console. Let's see. Well, this is not an actual web browser. This is just the Spotify console. I've seen some examples, but Spotify is not one of them. The thing is that the console is for you as a developer. That's what I wanted to say. It's for you. It's not for anyone else. And the alert, it's a problem because the alert will alert everyone, the users or the developers. So that's why the alert is not used that much. Normally you use the console because that way no one else will see it. Okay, so if you're able to see the console, yeah, I was hearing something.
No, yeah, I was the bar on the left on GitHub. I'm sorry, GitHub, that shows all the icons, like the little magnifying glass and everything. I took that away. How do I get that back?
The entire bar. Wow, that's the first time I see that, man.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I think I hit the top left one where it shows like the page.
View.
Like the paper.
It should be here, view.
I hit that one.
Let me see. Call hierarchy was not the one. Because when it's, yeah, this one doesn't check when something is open, so you don't know if it's open or not, or currently. Let me see, Explorer maybe. Look. No. Maybe you double clicked. Like if you do like this, you mean?
Yeah.
If you
exactly.
If you double click on the tab, it will go full screen.
Okay. Thank you, bud.
No worries. Okay. So we're here now. We're gonna start doing the HTML dynamically. So the first thing is to select the entire document with the DOM. For that, you do let's do document.querySelector, and then you're gonna say, let's say, actually we don't have to do that. We don't have to select anything. We can just say document.innerHTML. Let's try something. Document.innerHTML equals hello. Let's see what happens. Hello. Hello world. I want to see what happens here. Nothing happened. Yeah. Now let me see document.querySelector. And I am going to select something from the HTML. What can I select here Let's select container, dot container. The same way you select with CSS, you can select with JavaScript. You can say, I want to select the dot container, and to dot container, let me do it in 2 steps. First, I'm going to say const container is equal to document .query selector of dot container. So I have, in a variable, I have the container now. And then I'm going to say the inner HTML, I want it to be hello world. The inner HTML, for someone that doesn't know, it's from the beginning closing tag to the closing, from the beginning tag to the closing tag. Like everything that is highlighted right now, it's the inner HTML of container, of the div with the class container. That's the inner HTML. So if I am saying that I want to select dot container, and then that I want to reset, like set the inner HTML to the string hello world, then I'm basically changing this content, all of it. I am saying here hello world. That's what I'm doing, but with JavaScript. Okay? So let's see how it looks. There it is. You see how all the balloons went away? So that's basically what you want to do with JavaScript. You want to be able to manipulate the HTML, inner HTML of any element with JavaScript. So what we're going to do is that we're going to have here a string that we're going to call balloon. Const balloon, it's equal to this balloon. You're going to have a problem with the quotes, because if you use the same type of quote in the inner HTML, like as an HTML that you're using on JavaScript, JavaScript will think that you're closing the quote that you open it here. So what you're going to do is that you're going to be using a different type of quote. We're going to use the single quote outside, and that way it's going to look for the closing single quotes. It's not going to look for the closing double quote. And that way we're going to be able to store the entire string in our variable. Okay? So that's our balloon. Let me put this at the top. And now what we can do is that we can say, I want 20 balloons. How do we say that? I want 20 balloons. We have to use something that is called a for loop. We haven't seen that from the last class, so I'm going to go over it for a second. In the day number 1, 2, 3, in the day number 3, you have looping and arrays. In that lesson, looping and arrays, and in the practice as well, you have a lot of exercises on how to loop. A lot. Like 35 exercises. This is going to explain, you already know about variables, you already know about conditionals, and you know about arrays, but not enough. So we're going to go over arrays for a second and then loops. So you know already that an array is basically a type of data type that can contain many values at the same time. We use it for the random card generator because not for the random card, my bad, for the excuse generator. We used it because we were separating the excuse in a who, what, and when. I think it was like who, and then we had a bunch of who's, like the bear, my mom, the dog, and then the where or the what was what happened, that your excuse, like, I don't know, it's Pete on my homework, and then the when is yesterday or something like that. So we had a bunch of values that we wanted to randomize. So here we're going to use the same trick, but for balloons. We're going to say, that's in the instructions here of the, let me go to the exercise again, to the balloons exercise. There it is. balloons. Come on, click. So here we are. It's telling us to have an array. Here it is. An array. Let me open this image in a new tab so that we can see it better. It's telling me that we have to convert all the balloons in colors, right? Red, green, blue, pink. And then this is how it looks. It's like an array of colors, right? And when it's null, it's Puppet. Okay? Puppet means null. This is the hardest part for the exercise, like the strategy, like how I'm gonna represent with data my exercise. Any questions on this? On the strategy? Let me make this bigger. So we have real balloons in HTML. We gotta represent them with colors and then with JavaScript. So if the color is equal to null, the balloon was popped. So we're gonna have red, green, blue, pink, gray, purple. The colors can repeat. Doesn't really matter. That's the entire strategy. Like we're gonna use JavaScript to represent in data what HTML should be representing with actual HTML later. And the JavaScript part you can take home not only for doing websites and HTML, you can take it for anything. Like let's say that we're having a real game where you pop the actual balloons. If we want to do that with programming and we're going to have robots or we want to have a machine that it's supposed to fill with the balloons with air, we're going to still have to have everything represented in programming with an array or with something like that. So this part here, this real programming here, how to represent real life issues with code. So I decided to represent it with an array. Maybe you can use different data structures tomorrow. Okay, so any questions? So let's do that. Let's have an array. Here, let balloons. I'm gonna call this one single balloon so that we don't confuse them. I don't like having singular and plural and the same variable because it's easy to make a mistake. So I'm gonna have single balloon and balloons. Okay, and my balloons are gonna be colors. So let's have them like colors. Let's say pink. These colors have to be CSS compatible colors because we're gonna put that in the property color of the background color. So let's say black, let's say red, let's say purple. Let's try with these three and then we can later try something else. Try something else, no, like fill it with more balloons. Doesn't really matter right now. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna loop these balloons. There's a way that you can loop an array. It's here in the documentation. Like if you wanna go through all the elements in an array, you can say you have the for each. You have many tools for that. But in general, let me explain. You can say. Actually, I don't need single balloon anymore. My bad. I'm not going to use single balloon anymore. Let's just have it like this. And let's say, at the beginning, let's say, let content equal to an empty string. And then we're going to have balloons dot for each. So we're going to say for each element inside the balloons, we are going to do something for each element. We're going to grab the content that we have that is empty at the beginning, and we're gonna concatenate a new balloon. So I'm gonna copy and paste the code for the balloon. Here. For each element in the balloons array, we are going to create one balloon. And concatenate it with a plus. Let me put it like this. I think it's more explicit. Content plus. And then we're gonna say container.innerHTML equal to content. Okay, that's it. I don't want to throw any more code. Let me show you how this works. There it is. We have 4 balloons. So we're saying, again, we have an array with 4 colors. We're saying for each color, I want a balloon. And we're not saying that, my bad. We're not saying for each color we want a balloon. No, literally what we're saying is that for each color, we want to execute this line for each color. And what this line is going to do is grab whatever content we had before that at the beginning is empty. So at the beginning will be empty plus this. And then when it goes again through this line, it's going to be whatever it was before plus this. And then whatever, so it's accumulating a bunch of this side. It's adding and adding and adding. If I put a console log inside, let me put a console log inside. Console.log content. And I'm gonna put another message here. I'm gonna say, I'm looping. And let me put here, because I know it's possible that we can have here the color and I am looping I, or loop I. Okay, let me refresh and you will see what happened. Look what we have in the console now. Look, we have, let me put the algorithm on the left so that we can go back to it with our eyes and understand it. Here it is. So we have loop 0, content. Well, let me loop before the line so that we can see it better. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Okay, loop 0, content is empty, nothing. Then loop 1, content is one of these. Loop 2, content is 2 of those. Look, they are concatenated together. And then loop 3, now content is 3 of this because it's adding, it's accumulating. It's accumulating the values. Every time it loops, it adds more to the content. Because content was a global variable that was defined once. I can also show you line by line. There's a little tool here when you click on sources that can show you your code line by line. Let me show you. I'm gonna put something that it's called a breakpoint that will break the code and pause it. Let me show you. If I refresh, it's paused here. You see, it's paused. Like the computer is frozen right now because it's in the middle of the execution of an algorithm. So if I now start clicking on next, step next, it's gonna show me every line that is executing. So let's see what happens when it gets inside, like next. Oh, he jumped the entire thing, my bad. Let me put a breakpoint inside. Okay, and then let me start over. Okay, so there we are. So it's in the first loop. You see the values in the watch. Here's something that we call the watch. I can put the variables here and you're gonna see the variables over time. This is the I. So right now I is 0. And right now content. Wait a second. Okay, content. It's an empty string. You see, I'm gonna remove the other variables because we don't need them. How can I remove this? So there it is. We have I and content. So if I click play, it's gonna loop one more time because it's gonna loop as many balloons. So these 2 lines here, the line number 8 and the line number 9, I'm gonna execute as many times as items are in the array of balloons. So if I click next, it's gonna increment I to 1, you see? And then content already contains the first, like it already executed the line number 9 once. So that's why content is not empty anymore. It now contains this string here. When I click next, now I is 2 and content, now it's bigger. Look, it's bigger. It contains twice. It's accumulating. If I click next, 3 times now, 4 times, and it's over. Like I click next and now it let me, it's unfrozen now. I can keep using the computer. So that means the algorithm is ready. Any questions on that loop? That's how you loop. You loop all the balloons. This is tricky, guys. The looping concept, it's the hardest concept to grasp. This one and functions, and we're using both actually, because the for each receives a little function that is supposed to execute every time that the computer finds another balloon. So that function will execute many times. Okay, and now let me console log also the colors. The amazing thing about the for each is that it will pass the item that it found. You know that it's looping for every color that inside, for every item inside the array of colors. But I can see what color right now it's being looped. Like what's the one right now, and I can receive it as a parameter of the first function. So here on the first parenthesis, it's gonna pass me the color. So if you do like this, let me also add the color here as a string. You'll see on the loop, on the console log, that it knows the colors. Look. Let me see it only on the console. You see pink, black, red, and purple. So since we know the colors, as we loop, we can put a background color to each div with that information. So let's do that. I'm gonna put here, we can use a different type of quote that it's super amazing because it lets you add concatenate without having to use the plus symbol. So here I'm gonna put style background. Let me put many lines. Style, and then here we close the div here. I know it looks more messy like this, but it's better because we're gonna be having a lot of. I'm gonna add a lot of text here in the line number 11, so it's gonna be a huge line, and I wanna avoid that. That's why I'm jumping more lines now. Okay, so style background blue. If I do this, all the balloons are gonna have background blue. Look. But if I put color here, now the balloons are gonna have whatever the color it is right now that I'm looping. Look. You see? So now we are generating a dynamic HTML that it's generating balloons dynamically in different colors based on the array. So no questions. I know this is a little bit abstract at the beginning. Like it's the first time you see a strategy like this, applying some data into HTML. Like all we're doing here is trying to render or to draw what the JavaScript is telling us to on the data. Like we have an array of balloons, and we have to find a way of converting an array of balloons into actual divs and in compliance with our strategy. Okay. Are you guys following? Like, is this code on your code right now? We haven't done that many code. I'm gonna wait for a second so that you can, if you don't see the colors, show me your screen. That way we can fix it. So let's see, we have your screen right now, and you don't see the color. You see that you have a misspell? The text editor is showing you some weird things on the line number 13. And it's because when you use the dollar that I used there, you see the dollar on the line number 11. That dollar you cannot use it with double quotes. You have to use the super weird code that I use, the curly quote. I don't know how to call it. It's like a tilde. So started after the style. No, not after the style, my bad. In the line number 9, no, not there, because that right there, it's in the line number 9. Right there, exactly. Put the weird quote and then close it in the line number 13. The tilde or the curly quote. If you don't find the curly quote, it's in the if you have an Apple computer, it's right next to the number 1 on the left side of the number 1. If you have a Windows computer, I have no idea where it is. I can paste it here in your chat so that you can copy it from here. There it is. I just pasted there, so you can copy it from there if you don't find it.
Oh, there's that little weird thing right before the div.
Yeah, you gotta put the curly quote instead of a double quote or a single quote. Barathi is saying that it's the backtick key. So now it's working. You see, it's not giving you any trouble anymore, I think. Yeah. So try again. Yep, you see the colors now. So anyone else has issues?
Can you please share your screen again, your code? I can't, it's not,
yeah, let
the
me show
colors
it again.
not.
Yeah. Are you seeing the code now?
Yep. I can't see any difference. Should be working, but for some reason it's not changing the colors.
No, but that's okay. Show me your screen. I want to fix it with everyone because debugging is the real skill, man. Not watching my code. It's more like debug. Let's debug it together. Share your screen.
Just give me a second and me check the extension here.
Yeah, you have to install the extension. So we see it now.
Can you see?
Yeah, go to your HTML. No, but in the real website, like to the right side. Don't worry about that HTML. Yeah, exactly. And inspect the elements. Make it bigger. I don't know. Close the console. You can close the console if you want. Yeah. Now go to the Elements tab. The Elements tab will show you. It's above that. You know that you have like two levels of tabs. The tabs that you're clicking are not the ones. It's the tabs right above that you have Elements, Console, Source, Network. Yeah. Go to Elements. Now expand Body. And now expand Container. So that's what you have. What do you see there that is wrong? I can tell you. You have a misspell. You said background.
That's true. Yeah. Okay.
No, but what's the lesson here? Like, you can see what the browser see, you know? Because now the HTML document doesn't work anymore because the HTML document originally is being changed over time. So you don't have you cannot see what the browser see on the index.html. No, you have to click on the Elements tab, and that's where you see what the browser see.
Okay, makes sense. File, background is this. There you go. Okay, thanks so much.
Okay, so everyone, debugging is the real skill. So you have to understand everything that's happening, and the Elements tab is the best tool you can have to see what the browser see. Like what it's like we typed this. It's like we typed it manually, but instead of typing it manually, we typed it with JavaScript. Okay, let's go back.
Okay.
Anyone else is having issues? I like these issues. This is the class. Like I am enjoying it a lot more when you guys have issues. Okay, so let's see. Okay, let me collapse this. Okay. So we have the balloons with colors. If we want to have more balloons, what are we going to do now? We want to have 20 balloons, right? So what are we going to do?
Four times.
Yeah, add more elements, right? In the. So you guys add more.
Right?
So let's add more. So let's say, I don't know, I'm gonna duplicate these lines, and this is really annoying having to do all of this manually. I don't know, yellow, purple, pink. Let's say here black. Let's refresh. We should have more. Refresh with shift, remember. So there we go. We have a lot of balloons, and I don't like that they are too big. I'm gonna make them a little bit smaller because I want to show everything in the same screen. We're about to finish, by the way. We're almost there. To make them smaller, we can have, instead of 120, let's say 60, and let's make the container smaller, 400 maybe. Let's see. Yeah, that doesn't work. We gotta make it a little bit bigger now. Maybe the same 500. I don't think so. Smaller, not bigger. 300. Yeah. Almost there. So now the height. So let's say 70 or 60. There we go. Easier to see now. Now that it's smaller, we have to rearrange the balloon after. And so instead of 60, let's make it 40. A little bit more. Instead of 40, let's make it 30 or 35. Okay, so here we are. Now we gotta pop the balloons. How do we pop them? Let's create a little class here in the CSS that we're gonna call Puppet. Okay? And we are gonna say, if there's an element that has the class balloon and also has the class puppet, visibility hidden. Visibility hidden. Okay? And in our JavaScript, we're gonna say if color it's equal to null, then let's call it visibility. Let's say let visible or equal to empty, and if its color is equal to null, we say visible equal to popped, and that's it. And now the only thing we do is that we add a new class, space dollar visible. So that's it. Let me see if it works. Well, we're gonna have to put something null. Let me put something null here. I'm gonna put this one null. Null. There it is. That one's popped. You see? So all we did is that we added a class popped, and if our balloon has two classes applied, balloon and popped, you can see it in the elements. Let's see it in the elements. Our balloons are here. So this balloon has two classes applied, balloon and popped. The other ones are empty, empty, empty. The second class is empty. If you want to make it even more clear, you can say like this. By default, let's say visible, and if not popped. So now we're gonna have always two classes, visible or popped. Look, visible, 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 and then this one popped. And we use CSS for that. Any questions?
¡Benny!
Ajá, ¿lo lograste o qué?
¿Cómo?
Bueno, voy a entrar para el otro lado,
How
Hernán.
did you connect, bro?
Bye.
Sí, dale, porfa, loco, no.
Pero ya entraste,
Dale.
¿no?
Sí, ya está.
Ah, bueno.
Hey guys.
Oh, where was this? What happened here? There it is. Okay. Hello. Yeah. Can you explain the last let you put? Okay, let me explain it. Is everyone seeing my screen again? Because I had a little problem with the connection. Okay, so the last let. So it's just a variable that by default I said, okay, I'm gonna put inside my function because I wanna do it for every balloon. I'm gonna put, let me separate this a little bit. So I'm saying by default, visible is always equal to visible. Like the variable, this variable, let's say class. Well, I cannot say class because it's a reserved word, but I can say, let's say balloon visibility. Let's say the balloon visibility by default, it's gonna always be equal to the string visible. But if color it's equal to null, remember that color comes from the array. So color will be pink, black, red. It will, every time it loops, it will change value because it's looping. It's doing it for each balloon. So if ever it's equal to null, so I'm saying if ever it's equal to null, then I want to reset balloon visibility to popped. So it's going to be a different string. And then I'm saying that every div that I generate dynamically with JavaScript is going to contain a class balloon, but also another class that is equal to the balloon visibility. Okay, so it's going to be either visible or either popped. And then I'm preparing on my CSS to have a CSS class that is waiting for popped. If you are a balloon and have the class popped, I'm going to make you visibly hidden, you know? That's basically what we're doing. We're applying an additional class here. We're generating this string every time. So this string generates, it has different colors, but it also has different visibility. You can see the color here. Look, the color is null. The color is null, but also it has the balloon class and the pop class. So that's it. That's all the strategy there. Anyone else is having issues? If you're having issues, I would like to fix them publicly. Okay. So all we're missing is the click. The click on the balloon. So for that, you gotta put another property on the HTML here. On click. Then what do you want to do on click? Well, let's say that I want to pop balloon and with parentheses, okay? And I want to pop the balloon number I. You know, I'm going to rename I to make it more specific. I'm going to rename it to position. 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 Because the position is being passed magically. This is the only magic in the entire exercise. That line, number 11, has a little bit of magic. And when I say the word magic, what I mean is that it has some additional functionalities that we have to study before. We have to study and know, we have to know that the for each always will pass. Inside the function that we pass to the for each, it will pass the element inside, so these elements, and the position, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's passing in this case, the element is a color, so we have the color. And the position is always, for any exercise that you do, any for each that you do in your life, you will have as a second parameter, the position. So we're saying, pop the balloon in the position, whatever. Okay? And this pop the balloon it's not magic. We have to define this function. We have to now say that we want to pop balloon. We want the function pop balloon to receive a position and to grab the array of balloons in the position pos and make it null. Does that make sense? I know this is a different concept. We're talking now about functions. We're saying here that we want to create a new function that this onClick can call. OnClick pop the balloon in the position pos, and we're going to make it null. The exercise is done, by the way. We're 1% away. So if you're now in a level of your mind that you're saying this is too complicated for me, this is the most complicated as it gets for this reason. If all your balloons are null, it's because you probably didn't put all the equals here. I put 3 equals. If you put just one, you're gonna override the color. You're gonna say color is equal to null. you're gonna apply the value null to color. You don't want to do that. You want to ask a question. You want to make it a question. If it is, this is going to return, this parenthesis is like, this is going to convert into a boolean. If these two are equal, it's going to be true. If not, it's going to be false. That fix it for you, Diego, or not? Let me show you. If I put it like with one equal, I'm overriding all the colors to equal. Look, now they are all null, 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 null. So I'm gonna put it back. Share your screen, Diego. Let's fix this together. Woohoo! Okay. So let's see what you have. Show me your inspector. I wanna see the actual code. Okay. Ah, yeah. It's the equal. It's not an equal. It's a colon. In CSS, you put colons, not equals. That little style there, it's an equal. So you gotta go to your style and make it an equal. Not to your style, my bad, to your HTML, to the JavaScript, yeah. The line number 17, exactly, it's a colon. And then go back. There you go. Woohoo! So let me share the screen again. Okay, so the only thing we're missing is popping on click. Let me see if this works. Doesn't work yet. If I click, nothing works. Ah, by the way, if you want the balloons to, if you want to show the user that the balloon is clickable, you gotta make the cursor equal to pointer. So let's do that. Let's say cursor equal to pointer. That way, when you hover the mouse, it will show a little hand. That's useful. Okay, now to finish, we are popping the balloon with the function. It's probably working, but it's not re-rendering. Like, this is running only once. We want to run all of these again after we pop the balloon, because if not, it's gonna keep showing the old HTML. We want to re-render all the balloons every time that you pop the balloon. So for that, we're gonna wrap this function in a function. So function, let's call it render balloon. And we're gonna put all the content for rendering the balloons, like from here to here, inside. Okay? And then we're gonna call this function at the beginning of the website, like here, and then we're gonna call it again here, after we pop the balloons. Let me remove this from your, so that we can see all the code at once. There you go. Now if we refresh, oops, my bad. New terminal. I closed the server. So let me say again the the Python 3 server. And let me put this on the left, maybe. Yeah. Okay. So now if I click, nothing happens. Ah, let's see why. Render balloons, render balloons, render balloons. Oh yeah, because this line has to also be inside render balloons. My bad. Because this is the actual line that replaces the entire HTML, you know? Okay, so we render the balloons once. When you click, you re-render. Ooh, now it's adding a lot of balloons. Look, crazy. We gotta erase the previous balloons. So for that, we're gonna initialize content inside the function here, so that it gets emptied, and then we loop them. So now it's gonna get replaced. You see, now it's working. It's popping. So any questions? Oh, I was not sharing the screen, my bad. I don't know why. Oops. Yeah. Okay, let's review this function here and the pop balloons. The exercise is ready, by the way. You have nothing else to understand, but we're gonna go over that. That is the last part. So what happens? Remember that or don't remember, let me tell you that when you create a function, that function doesn't get executed until you call it. Let me show you in a little isolated environment. I'm gonna create a little replit. This website is super cool because it lets you create really fast a coding environment to show something to someone else, and then you can stop. You can do whatever you want with it. Okay, so I'm in. Let me create a new replit in JavaScript. It's gonna take like 30 seconds. Okay, so if I have a function, let's say that I call it sum, and it's gonna receive two things, A and B, and it's gonna return A plus B. That's what it does. It's a function that receives two things and returns the sum of them. So I have to call the function now. So sum of 2 and 3, let total, it's equal to the sum of 2 and 3, and then when I console log total, it's gonna print 5. Look, there it is, 5. You see? So a function is a piece of code that you can reuse. It's like a class in CSS. Like I can have several here. I can sum again, I don't know, 5 and 10 and 13 and 5 and 8. Let's total 2, and this is total 3. And then I can print all of them. Total 1, total 2, and total 3. And I run it, and I'm reusing those lines of code. Total 1 is not defined. And yeah, total 1 doesn't exist. It's just total. So there we are. We're reusing. Always sum will return. So it will return and assign to total 2 plus 3, then 5 plus 13, and then 5 plus 8. So we can have a function like this. We can use it in our code, but this function doesn't return anything. This function only This one resets the balloon that we specified in the position, whatever. Like if I pass to this function here, if I pass 1 or 2, it will pop, it will make null the balloon in the position 2, because look, it will grab the position, like if I pass 2 here, it will grab, it will say the position 2, and it will make it null, so it will be the position 0, 1, 2. This position will be now null. And then it will call this other function. And this other function is doing a lot of things. First is declaring an empty variable content, empty. Then it's looping all the balloons, and it's adding to content every balloon with the proper visibility and color, and then it's assigning it to the container inner HTML that we grabbed at the beginning. We put it here. We said container inner HTML is going to be the element with the glass container. Is that clear like that?
Yep.
Okay. I know it's a little bit abstract because it's the first time you do something like this, but this becomes easy after you practice like crazy. So my recommendation is to start doing the replits, or if you already started, is to do a lot of replits. There's a replit about the DOM on the last day, on day 4, not the last one, my bad. Here, this one, practicing the DOM. This is the last one you should do because it's what we're doing right now. It's a combination with JavaScript and HTML. It's like how to use JavaScript to take advantage of HTML. Because in the other ones, it's about JavaScript only. The DOM is the only one that starts mixing up JavaScript and HTML. So let's make sure everyone has the complete exercise. If you don't have it, let's show me your screen and we can figure it out. You probably have some misspells, some errors. I want to show everyone how to fix the errors. When you say I don't have it, it's that you didn't do it, or that you don't have any errors, or that you have errors. Okay, show me your errors. That's fun. Share your screen with everyone. Okay, we see it now. Yeah, we can see you now. Afterwards, we go with Barathi. This is the important part, guys, fixing the errors. Guys and girls. We only see the blue jean. I think you didn't share the desktop. We only see blue jeans. Aha, now we see it. Okay. So the first error that I see there, there's a bunch of underlines. You see the underlines. That's bad news when you see the underline like that. Everyone can suggest. Let's suggest what he can fix. I want all of us to practice, so let's suggest what he can fix.
The bracket should be before container.
What bracket? The bracket on line number 32.
No, the third, yeah. Why is it there?
The bracket on line 30 is supposed to match the for each. So indented one to the right. Mm-hmm. You have a curly bracket on the line number 22 that it's not supposed to be there. I think that's the one. Yeah. What else? What else do we see there? Do you want to see the HTML that you have? Show me the elements. No, not that HTML. Remember that HTML doesn't work anymore. Only the elements. So what do you see there that, oh, I see like the original HTML. Expanded? Yeah, it's the original one. It's not being changed by JavaScript. So JavaScript is not running at all because you have the original HTML. You don't have the modified one. So it's because when you put the render balloon function, remember that functions doesn't run by default. You have to call them. So when you wrapped all of that inside a function, now that function is being ready to be called, but it's not being called. So you want to call that function before the console log in the 34. Call render balloon. Say render balloon parenthesis parenthesis. And then the semicolon. That is, it's a good practice, but it's not mandatory anymore. They decided not to make it mandatory, I think like 6 months ago. Now you can refresh, save it and refresh. It's working. But it's working and it's not working because I can see still the border. So what's really happening there, open your elements. And you'll see what's happening. Refresh the website because I don't know why you have some colors and some not. Maybe you have colors that don't exist in CSS. Okay, cool. So open the elements and try to pop one of them, and let's see how pop one of them. Make sure you know which one. And now go to that one in the HTML. What happened there? The color changed to null, right? The background. The background changed to null or not? Null is not an available background. Null is a weird background. So you are missing one thing. You are not using the visible puppet or visible that will make it invisible. Like it's becoming white because it doesn't recognize background null, but it's supposed to also become visible, the visibility class. Remember that we added it. So go to your CSS and make sure to add, you have it there, the balloon popped. You have it on the 21. Okay, now apply the pop class to the element because you don't have it applied. So go back to the JavaScript, and you know where it says in the 23, it says class balloon. You're only applying one class to it, balloon. You have to apply the second class. So put a space after the end of balloon and say, you don't have to put any quote at all. The quote that was there already, it's enough. So after the end of balloon, put a space. and then put dollar curly visible. Dollar bracelet visible. Or bracket. Yeah, now visible. You declare the visible in the 20. You can see it there. Okay, and then close the bracket. And now you're applying a second class that it could be visible or puppet, and refresh. And now it's gonna go 100% invisible now. So the only way to debug is to see the elements. Anyone else has any issues? Barathi, you managed to fix your issues or not?
Yeah, I'm almost.
Okay. I don't know the rest of the people, like Cristiano, Diego. Diego's balloon.
I didn't have time to type everything, so I'm just basically following along.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna share my snapshot here so that everyone can have it. If you open this in your computer, it will show my a copy of my project in Gitpod. So next class we'll be doing a different exercise, but about the same. So my recommendation, if you really want to take advantage of this, start doing the replets, do the most replets you can, ask questions, so that when we come up to the project, another project like this again, you are more comfortable with JavaScript and the DOM and loops and everything, and you can take more advantage of this, because the more you watch, the less you take advantage of it. Like, you should be doing it with me. And thank you everyone for coming. I mean, the class is 3 minutes out, so I think we can dismiss the class. We're gonna have some events. Always check the Slack channel, because there are some events coming up in Spanish and English, and we're publishing a lot of verified job openings for developers, so that you guys can motivate yourself. There's a lot of jobs being out there right now. Even crisis developers are still being looked for a lot, and everyone's finding a job. So don't worry about that, and come on, keep motivated. This is
Thanks so much.
This is how you play.
Thanks so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye.